On this episode of Chase Classic Motors, we're exploring the history of Chrysler's much maligned and misunderstood R-body cars. Produced from 1979 to 1981, these functional four-doors were Chrysler's answer to the trendy new range of downsized sedans coming from GM and Ford in the late 1970s. However, questionable design choices and quality issues meant they were a catastrophic commercial failure for Chrysler Corp, becoming but a footnote in Mopar history, as well as a scapegoat for the financial woes that doomed the company to endure a very public and embarrassing bankruptcy in the 1980s. What you may not know is that for a few glorious years, they were the bedrock of most police and highway patrol agencies in America. The R-body cars are often touted as being the best police cars that Chrysler ever produced, and they were immortalized on screen in action movies and popular television shows of the 1980s. Their quick rise to glory and sudden downfall means that today, 45 years later, the R-body cars are not only missing in action, but they're also in need of redemption. Mopar collectors are finally beginning to rediscover these cars just in time too, as very few survivors exist today. So what better way to promote our investigation than by reuniting a trio of forgotten and forsaken R-body police cars right here at our workshop. We'll explore their unique history and welcome a few special guests to share their car stories and lived experiences with the Chrysler Newport, the Dodge St. Regis, and the Plymouth Gran Fury, the phenomenal full-sized R-bodies. But before we get started, let's take a ride with Eric in what may be the most surprising Mopar we've ever test-driven, the 1979 Chrysler Newport A38 Police Pursuit.
Hi, Eric.
Hello. You meet me in my natural habitat.
Yeah.
Malaise Mopar.
What is this you're driving today?
This is perhaps the ultimate R-body. This is a 79 Chrysler Newport, former Oregon State Police car. 79 was the best year performance-wise for the R-bodies. It was the best year for the 360. Had the most power because it dropped 10 or 15, I forget, for the next model year, 1980. And 79 was also the last year for the 3.2 axle ratio. In 80, it went to 2.9. So little change, not a big change, but significant. So performance-wise, this is the one you want.
It's the ultimate of the 79s, the Malaise era Mopar pursuits. 79 Chrysler Newport. And while we were filming just a few minutes ago, you were on the phone with what I can only describe as, I'm assuming, a very happy 16-year-old.
The owner of this car is 16 years old, or will be in about 3 months. So it's not going to be his daily driver. His daily driver is going to be a pickup truck. Now, to tell you the truth, if I heard that a 16-year-old was getting a car like this, I'd be like, ooh, he's going to wreck it. I don't think this guy will. I've known him since he was 12. He's actually a very mild-mannered young man, and he's used to being around collector cars. His dad had an 87 Dodge Diplomat police car before this young man was born.
That you worked on extensively.
Yeah, I did a lot of work on that car, and it was in beautiful condition. They had it dressed up as several different police cars over the years. Caro PD. I think they had it as a Maligned car once, and then just before he sold it, it was a Frankenmuth PD car.
Very well-known police car here in Michigan.
Yeah. You Google image 87 Dodge Diplomat police car, and it will pop up. It's dark blue.
And that young man has been tooling around with his father in that Dodge police car since he was knee-high.
Yep.
And now that he's about to turn 16, I guess you and his dad wanted to surprise him with something pretty special.
Yeah, and this is special. I'm definitely a little bit jealous. I love these R-bodies. They're such nice cars. And we should do a video on just R-bodies in general. They're not a ground up new car. They were kind of an evolution of the B-bodies. But if you've driven a B-body and you've driven an R-body,
which we have.
Yeah, other than the loss of power, of course, going from the 440 to the 360, the R-body really is, in every way I can think of, a nicer car. I'm not exactly sure how to put it. The styling isn't as aggressive, but
it's not as rakish.
Right, but there's more visibility. you sit up a little higher. I feel, like I can see things better.
Oh, visibility is so much better inside this car than our Michigan State Police B-body.
Yeah, everything's kind of in reach. It's just everything's more pleasant to use.
And of course, we have a 1980 Dodge St. Regis R-body retired state police car at the shop in our collection. And as our friend Officer Mike has pointed out, when he sat in mine for the very first time, it fit him like a glove.
Mm-hmm.
He's a relatively large individual, as a lot of police officers are. He's a large, intimidating man. But needless to
He slapped me on
say,
the shoulder one time and darn near knocked me down.
he is a bit of a gentle giant. But yeah, he's definitely got the size where it counts, and so does this car. It's big in all the right areas, and yet, compared to the full-size C-body that it replaced in 1978-79, Chrysler was able to shed like 1,000 pounds of weight when they came out with this car.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, despite all of its advantages in terms of drivability, in terms of everything desirable in every other way about what a full-size car should be at this time period, this was a catastrophic financial failure for the Chrysler Corporation.
Yeah, they did the same play twice in a row, which really hurt them. They brought out the restyled C-bodies for the 74 model year just in time for the gas crisis. And of course, Chrysler, not necessarily Plymouth and Dodge, but Chrysler, were already saying things like there will never be a small Chrysler and stuff like that. So that hurt them. And then they did the same thing again with the R-bodies in 79. They had a little bit of a, they brought out this new big car.
And let's face it, Chrysler was a little late to the party because in 1977, GM Chevrolet had come out with its barnstorming new Chevy Impala, which took the full-size world by storm. It featured modern suspension technology, a comfortable ride. It was everything that full-size buyers wanted in a more utilitarian and smaller vehicle. So Chrysler thought that they would try to pull off the same trick. And yet they tried to do it with basically a tenth of the budget.
Yeah.
Because GM had been planning the new Impala, I believe since 1974 was when they started designing it. And by 1979, Chrysler was ready to roll this out. And what they effectively did was just stick a new body and face on the traditional four-door B-body.
And you can tell, one of these days we'll have to do that video too.
Which was an excellent car.
Yeah.
We know they were.
We'll have to compare the box Crown Vics 79 and up to the Caprices 77 and up, the boxes, to these R-bodies. And I hate to say it, as much as I love these R-bodies, you can tell the fit and finish is not quite as good
as an Impala or a Crown Victoria from Ford.
Yeah. You can tell there's a lot more attention to detail on those other cars in the way things sound and the way things feel.
This car was made on a budget.
Yeah, you can tell just weird little things like when you open the door, when you push the buttons, things like that. The Chevys and the Fords feel like there's more attention to detail. This feels a little bit cruder and older.
And yet, this was one of the most popular full-size cars used by local police and state highway agencies from coast to coast.
Temperature gauge came back to life.
Excellent. We were taking temperature readings on this car a little while ago. It's running a nice, normal 190 degrees.
Chryslers, in my experience, are more forgiving than Fords and GMs about sitting. It seems like you bring a Ford or a GM back to life and you have a few more little problems. Chryslers, after they've been sitting for a long period of time and you bring them back to life, it seems like you use them and the rest of the car slowly starts working again. A little bit more so than the GM and Ford products.
And it is unfortunate because this car was genuinely a good product, but it suffered from severe reliability issues. And there were so many customer complaints beginning in '79 when this car was first released. And of course, government agencies, they complained that there was no low-cost Plymouth version of this car. So Chrysler would discontinue the Newport after 1979. And Dodge would continue with the full-size St. Regis.
They made the Newport, but was it available with the police package in 80 and 81?
Right.
You could still buy a R-body Newport in 80 and 81.
Yes.
I just don't think there was a police package.
Right.
But you look at an 80 Gran Fury next to a 79 Newport, they're the same car.
They
They're
are
the
virtually
exact same
identical.
car. There's just teensy differences. I mean, they're at almost as close as an embodied Plymouth and Dodge. They're just... It's crazy.
But what's not crazy is just what a good car you get for the money. You've got the size, you've got the comfort, you've got the power. It's no wonder that the 79 and 80 R-body police cars by Chrysler, Dodge, and Plymouth were named as the best Mopar police cars, at least of that decade and possibly of all time. But they are forgotten gems, and they are often diamonds in the rough. And this car was pulled out of the weeds, basically, somewhere around 2012, according to some of the info we saw.
Yeah, this car was one of 3 that somebody had. I think you know the story better than I do. And
well, it was rescued. First
yeah.
It was an Oregon State Police car, and then it fell into disuse, as so many of these cars often do. It was neglected and abused, and finally just thrown away, and somebody had it in their backyard.
Yeah, and the other 2 cars got crushed.
This one survived.
Yeah, someone was there just in time to say, "What are you doing? Don't take them all away." And the other ones probably needed parts or had parts that this one kind of needs. This one, the dual snorkel air cleaner is missing, and it's depending on, I mean, you can get dual snorkel air cleaners, but the ones for the malaise era police cars are different than the ones that are easy to find for, you know, like a late 60s, early 70s Mopar muscle car.
There will be more than just detail work needed for this car. It's going to need body, it's going to need mechanical, it's going to need some electrical. I think you've got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, this car, it's got a lot of little things.
And you want to have it done in time for customer's 16th birthday.
I hope so, because if I'm not burning the candle at both ends already.
And then what are the long-term plans for this car? I know you said he's going to enjoy it. He's going to have a pickup truck as his daily driver. And then what do him and his dad plan to do with this car?
They're going to turn it into a Tuscola County Sheriff's car, it looks like. So if I remember correctly, that means it's going to be white, have one spotlight on it. I think the hood and the deck lid are black, but the rest of the car is white. It's going to have a twin sonic light bar on it and the Michigan hood sign.
The hailer. That's a tall order. That's definitely going to take some time to research and piece together. But hopefully,
I think he's already got the hailer, thank God.
I'm sure he does.
Those aren't easy to get, and he's a hailer collector, so.
Yes, and being a police officer, boy's father, he also has an extensive collection and array of emergency equipment that can go into this car. But it is a very unique piece.
If you have to, we do know a guy that can custom make them.
Yes, we do. But I am really impressed just how smooth this car runs.
The suspension is in really good shape, it seems like. I'm not hearing clunks and rattles underneath the car.
This car did just arrive here at our Chase headquarters from Florida the other day.
Yeah, and it runs really nice. The funny thing is, it's got orange ignition wires on it. I don't know where those came from. I doubt they're original to the car. I don't think they would have lasted that long. But from the factory, it would have left the factory with orange wires and a brown distributor cap, which it also has. So I don't know if someone was putting NOS parts on it. I don't know what's going on. That's just interesting.
But this is a great starter project for our young fan, young customer, and his family. So really looking forward to getting to know this car in more detail. We'll get it up on the lift here soon, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about more of the unique aspects that went into not only the full-size R-body Chrysler cars between 79 and 81, but also the unique things that made it a Pursuit Edition. Any other final thoughts?
I'm just happy to see it. This is so cool. I love this steering wheel. This is such a cool, it's such a sporty looking steering wheel.
And you've got that Grand Certified speedometer that only the police could have at that time.
This is maybe my favorite part. Do you have any idea how unbelievably hard it is to find radio delete plates for anything? That was like the first thing that got cut to pieces when people bought a police car at auction. That's got to be the only one in the whole world right there.
That is possible. That is very possible.
We might even look into having that 3D printed or something. Wouldn't that be cool?
I would love to see that done, because you just can't find them anymore.
Right.
These cars were only made for 3 model years. The Plymouths were only manufactured for 2 model years, at least in the police edition.
And one of my favorite things about police cars is noticing all the differences between it and a civilian car. So I don't know if you all know this, I own a 1980 Plymouth Gran Fury non-police car. Just a 318 two-barrel civilian car, but it's an R-body like this.
With a handsome corduroy interior.
Oh, I love that corduroy interior. That's so late 70s.
It's so malaise.
But I just love seeing the differences between that car and this one. I love seeing, I'm going to try to get the light right so maybe you can see it. All the black trim where you'd usually have brown. I don't know if this ashtray is original to the car. But my Gran Fury, all of this fake wood is here and all here and on here. And this police car, it's all black. So, and the steering wheel is just a, you know, what you would have seen probably in a B body, just a bar across like that. It's boring.
No faux luxuries here. This car is all business. Just the facts, if you please.
As much as I love my corduroy, I really love this vinyl. You know how much I complain about the seats in our 77 Michigan State Police Gran Fury. I passionately hate those seats. Those luxury Corinthian leather seats don't belong in a police car. I love this. This is cool.
Heavy duty vinyl buckets.
Heck yeah.
With rubber floors.
That's the way it should be.
Can you imagine being 16 and being gifted one of these cars with what car nerds, Mopar nerds we are?
Oh my gosh.
That kid is one lucky little guy.
He is. I'm jealous of him.
I don't mind saying
honestly,
I am too.
I don't think there's another young man in the world that age that I would be confident giving a car like this to. I think he'll be okay with it.
Or that deserves a car more than this, because I know he was kind of broken up when his dad parted ways with the '87 Diplomat that you spent all that time refurbishing for them.
Yes, he was. He's told me a couple times he'd like to buy that car back someday. And you know, I feel for him. He grew up with it.
Yep. He was definitely attached to it, but I think he's going to grow attached to this car pretty fast too.
Oh, I think he already has.
This is a nice place to be.
He hasn't even seen it yet.
No.
He's seen pictures of it. He has not actually met this car yet. He's supposed to next weekend.
And hopefully we'll be able to meet him and let him tell his own story about what he wants to do with this car and what it means to him to have a car like this at his age. Because one of the things we know that's missing from car culture is young people his age getting involved in cars of this era.
And he is a little bit of an old soul.
As I think we both are. And therefore it's only fitting that a young man with his personality and his capabilities would be able to want and enjoy a car as much as this. Well, I'm really enjoying the test drive here, Eric. This is a nice place to be. I was a little leery when this car arrived, but now that we've had it out here in our little industrial park and have put it through its paces, it seems to be handling pretty well. Starts and stops smooth. I know you said it needs some brake work, and
yeah, it needs work on the brakes, needs work on the car. But I tried to do a burnout with it, and it just falls on its face. I can try to show you real quick. You know, the accelerator pump is just not showing up to work.
Oh
yeah. See, I just stalled it.
Stalled it out as soon as you went wide open. So, yep, it'll take some tweaking, and you're going to need to look at that sure grip rear end to see.
For some reason, this car it's supposed to have sure grip, and it's not working. So I don't know if.
And sure grip is just the term that Chrysler used for a limited slip differential.
Yeah, so
like posit traction is for GM.
Yep.
Or track lock is for Ford.
I don't think they built any of the 3.2 axles without sure grip.
Sure grip, exactly.
So maybe someone just put the wrong stuff in it and the clutches aren't grabbing. Hopefully that's all it is.
I hope so, because this is going to be a nice car. We're going to have fun with this car. I'm really happy for our young customer. Well, I'll see you back in the shop, Eric. This was fun.
Alrighty. Sounds like a plan.
And we'll pick this up back inside Chase HQ right after this.
Let me tell you about a car. An honest-to-goodness, terrific car. This Chrysler Newport. I think it's one of the best values on the market. Compared to Chevy Caprice, for instance, Newport is longer, wider, has a larger trunk, yet Newport's 6-cylinder gas mileage is better. And when you get right down to it, Chrysler Newport is sticker-priced $43 less than Chevy Caprice this year, comparably equipped. Chrysler Newport, now that's value.
So let's get a glimpse underneath this 1979 Chrysler Newport A38 police pursuit, Eric.
Yeah. So it looks like where it was sitting had some, had some briars on there. Definitely someone cut plant life out from here. The speedometer doesn't work in this car. Cable looks intact. I don't know what's going on in there. There's a good chance that the gear inside the tail housing and the trans is broken. Can I get some of these gears out of here? Oh, no wonder the last guy didn't pull them out and just cut them.
Well, when we said this car was thick in the weeds,
Yeah.
we weren't kidding.
How you like that? When was the last time you saw catalytic converters?
That have not been chopped off.
Yeah, I know. This car's got we think it's got just a hair over 100,000 miles on it. I forget what the odometer says, but it's like 3,000 and some miles. So I'm sure it's 103,000. They're still there. These are those glorious police package torque boxes. Unfortunately, the floor is a little soft here. These cars share so much with the B bodies. I think, and I'm gonna have to do some research on this, but I think you can, because I know you can get reproduction floors for like a 71 Roadrunner. Maybe they're the same, or close enough that you can cut what you need and put it on there. This one's not rusty, but it's dented. And the torque box is a little bit crunched too, wow.
Well, this Oregon State Police car has obviously not led a charmed life.
No,
But it's amazing that it's still here and in one piece.
that's what I was about to say. It's lucky to be alive. Oh, I'm gonna prick myself again.
Are we saying this car probably had 3 near-death experiences in its 45-year lifespan already?
The way we figure it, almost any police car, in order to survive, generally seems like it probably has at least 3 close calls. It's got to survive police duty, and then after that, normally it gets purchased either by another small municipality or a taxi service, or if it doesn't go there, they're usually bought by someone looking for cheap transportation, and people looking for that kind of car usually don't take care of it. So that's at least 2 chances right there. And if the second owner didn't take care of it, the third owner is definitely not going to. They tend to be kids or, well, just people who are not of means.
And people looking just for a fun, cheap toy to beat up and play around with. That's what I was doing when I was young.
Yeah. Or movie companies. I mean,
Destroyed by Hollywood. This car was on the West Coast and had plenty of opportunities to be cast in a film. In fact, somebody brought up Rambo First Blood because that movie was set in Oregon and there were 79 Newports, I guess, that might have been featured in the movie.
Well, and I think I told you this before, that's what got me interested in police cars when I was a kid, was my dad and I think we were watching Knight Rider, and he spotted a, all-white Dodge Diplomat with dog dish wheel covers on it, and he told me he thought it was going to get destroyed before the end of the show. And I asked him why, and he said it's probably an old California Highway Patrol car, and Hollywood buys them when they need something cheap to wreck for a scene. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. And yeah, of course he was right. The last scene of the show, they destroyed it. So, I mean, and that's just...
David Hasselhoff strikes again. Another classic Mopar police car destroyed. But that's what these cars were. They were cannon fodder. First they were used up by the government, and if they weren't played around with and destroyed then, well then Hollywood had the opportunity to get their hands on it and destroy it for a cheap thrill for our public entertainment.
Well, not just were, but are. I mean, to this day, do you think Hollywood, if they were filming something that took place in 1980 or so with a car chase, do you think they would think twice about destroying this car for a movie?
For a cheap
Of course
thrill?
they wouldn't.
Without a second thought.
In
it's in the
mint
script.
condition, what would this car be worth? Absolutely perfect. Maybe 20 grand, maybe?
Maybe.
At most? What's that to a Hollywood budget of hundreds of millions? They couldn't care less.
Now, fortunately, most of the car stunts today are done with CGI. But if it was important enough to the scene, the director wanted it to be crashed for real, they wouldn't hesitate to do it.
Yep. And don't think, just in case any of you out there are like, oh, well, if I was gonna let Hollywood borrow my car, I'd make them sign a thing where it's saying they're not gonna destroy it. No, you don't get it. They don't care. What's worst case scenario if they wrap your car around a tree till the bumpers are touching each other? They just pay you off.
You sign a check.
They don't care.
For the insurance amount.
Oh, but it's a police car. It's one of just a few. They don't care. Your car's worth 20 grand to them. They need to get their movie done. They'll just pay you. They don't care what the contract says.
Even though a car like this is now almost irreplaceable.
Exactly. That's
Look
my
at all
point.
these high-performance, heavy-duty parts. Look at the size of that rear axle.
I think these are the factory mufflers. This like crimp in the side here, I've only seen that on the original mufflers. I don't think these have ever been replaced. And of course, if you're gonna do exhaust on this, why would you leave the caps on? I think this is the original exhaust.
That's remarkable. This was something of an archaeological find already.
Yeah. And it looks like the gas tank's been replaced, and then they went Dukes of Hazzard jumping in it.
Definitely has a few crashes and bangs, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Those look like original tips to me, too.
They certainly do. And as you pointed out, in reality, this car should not be alive.
No, that's the point I was making. How many close calls? That's why these cars are so rare. You know, how many of these cars did they make in '79? Maybe 10 grand or so?
Not more than 20,000.
And they all lived hard lives early on?
Most were sold to public safety agencies because they sold so poorly commercially.
I'm not talking about all the R bodies. I'm talking about just a police package 79 Newport. I'll bet you they made less than 10,000 of them. Probably kind of in that ballpark.
Right, that's normal.
By the time they were 5 years old, most of them were probably gone. A little dent here too, but at least it's solid. This is like, just like the C bodies, this is like the first place the R bodies rot out. There's a hole here, but it doesn't look like it's a hole rotted through. It's more like a puncture. Like someone dropped something in there and it came through. Or I don't know, maybe there was water in it and someone stabbed it and drained the water out, who knows. This wheel arch trim is actually pretty nice. It's not mint, but I mean...
In good condition.
It's good.
There is a lot of good material still left on this car.
Mm-hmm.
It is impressive considering how original it still is and the fact that it was dragged out of a backyard in Oregon somewhere.
When was the last time you saw bumper fillers on an R body that are this nice? I get it, they're not mint, but you can't find them at all.
They do not exist.
Right.
Even the internet will find it very, very difficult to find replaceable parts like that because so few of these cars survive.
Looks like someone put calipers on it, I think, recently. I mean, someone was driving this car a little bit. It's got a new fuel pump on it. The belts aren't original, but they're not new. Tires are all different on it. Some of them are 20 years old, some of them are only a few years old.
Just enough to get it mobile.
Yeah, and it's leaking trans fluid significantly. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pull a trans on it. It looks like the oil pump seal is leaking in the front, and a tail shaft seal is leaking in the back.
That is not uncommon with these cars. I believe
Nope.
my St. Regis on the rack there does the same thing.
Yep.
And we just haven't got around to it yet.
Yep.
Customers' cars come first.
Yep.
And how nice that this is a customer's R-body squad car.
Yeah.
So even if we're neglecting one of ours, we still get to play with one of theirs.
Yep.
It's a great time to be in business, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I wish I could relax a little more because I'm always busy, but it's definitely a lot more pleasant when I get to work on something like this.
And that's because this is one of the last remaining 1979 Chrysler Newport police pursuits. So here's our 1980 Dodge St. Regis R-body squad car. And we noticed something kind of interesting.
Yeah, we're nerding out over here again because we got, access to 2 R-body police cars. When was the last time this happened? We got 2 R-body police cars in the same room at the same time. But
and from 2 different model years.
Yeah, 79 and 80. And if you know anything about these cars, you probably know a little bit about the bumpers. And that Chrysler put aluminum bumpers on them in 79 and had a lot of problems with the chrome falling off. So just for the heck of it, I got a magnet here. And so we were playing around. Here's the 80 Dodge St. Regis. Steel rear bumper. Aluminum front bumper. And I believe that's also the way, that was a bolt. That's also the way my 1980 Gran Fury non-police car is it's aluminum front, steel rear. So let me come over to the 79.
Also an R-body police car.
Yep. Aluminum front. Aluminum rear. So, does anybody care? No, you gotta be a little crazy like us, but we think that's cool.
We sure do.
So while Eric gets to work on the 1979 Chrysler Newport, let's welcome another R-body police car back to our Chase headquarters. This 1980 Plymouth Gran Fury was originally a big city detective's car from Muskegon, Michigan, where it served until 1990. We purchased this dark blue Plymouth intending to restore it here on the channel, only to realize we already had our hands full with other projects and our patiently waiting customers. So we took the opportunity to see if we could rent it out to local TV and film companies. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Hey, didn't Eric just lecture us on how risky it is to rent your classic car, especially if it's a police car, to a movie studio? Won't they just destroy it on a whim if it suits their project? Well, that can happen, yes, but we found the experience of renting cars to small independent film companies to be very rewarding. Small movies have small budgets, and that means that the cast and crew are more likely to treat your car with the utmost care and respect, since they cannot afford to pay out the insurance value if your car gets damaged or destroyed. Here you see our Plymouth acting the role of hero car for the detective played by actor Chris Newman in Dominos, a supernatural crime thriller from 2024. And yes, that is Eric doubling for Chris in this driving sequence. After all, Eric doesn't have my luxurious facial hair, so the director decided that Eric was the better choice to be the driving double. Some of these scenes took 5 or more takes to accomplish, and Eric hit his mark with the Plymouth each time. Not bad for our first movie role. However, once the film tax credits dried up, so did our chances for a steady profit with this car. So for the good of our business, I began putting the word out on Facebook that this car was for sale. And it wasn't long before an interested buyer with a very interesting personal story about R-body police cars caught our attention. But before we welcome our special guest to the workshop, let's take the opportunity to witness a remarkable homecoming for a trio of maligned and misunderstood R-body police cars. Our own 1980 Plymouth Gran Fury, our young customer's 1979 Chrysler Newport, and my own 1980 Dodge St. Regis, all of which were born at Chrysler's now abandoned Lynch Road assembly plant in Detroit, just a few short miles away from us. It's possible there haven't been this many R-body police cars in one place since these cars served and protected their communities back in the 1980s. So now, let's join up with Eric and welcome some new friends who will give 2 of these forgotten and forsaken Mopar classics a new home and a better life, now that we've accomplished what I can only describe as the R-body hat trick.
Yeah, we got 3 police R-bodies here. I think you've been looking for one for years, and now you've come here and there's
5 years or so, yeah.
Yep, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And this is Joe from Delaware, and of course, next to him, Wyatt, the young man who will be taking delivery of the 79 Chrysler Newport.
Yeah, this is his first time seeing his new car.
What do you think, my friend?
Well, I'm excited to get into it and start making it nicer, and it's cool to have something rare like this and keep it a police car and not.
Now you're not
get
driving it
trashed.
every day though. The truck out there is going to be your daily, right?
Probably 50-50 between them, but
Okay.
I mean, the most I'd ever do is drive it to work in the parking lot. But
Well, I was just saying, Eric, we've accomplished the ultimate R-body hat trick here this weekend.
Not quite. We don't have an 81.
That is
We got
true.
a 79 and an 80. We got a Newport, a St. Regis, and a Gran Fury, but we don't have an 81.
But in terms of all makes and models, we got them all.
I can check out the interior more. I haven't even sat in the driver's side yet.
Yeah, see how the car fits you there, Wyatt?
Yeah. These big vinyl seats are comfortable for a police car.
Yeah, it's got a really nice driving position. And we were really impressed when we took that car for viewers for a test drive.
Yeah.
Just what a nice car it still is. It really runs and drives well.
The seats are in great shape. I don't think there's just a tear here, but that's all I see. We just brought the siren and
Oh, perfect.
speakers and stuff for it that we had in the garage. So,
Well, you've already got a plan for this car then.
yeah, we're starting to piece it together.
Excellent. Well, you've got a plan, and so does our customer here from Delaware.
Hello, Ross. I was just thanking Eric for agreeing to sell the R-body to me.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, I really didn't want to let it go.
I know, but I did tell you I would find the right buyer for that car.
Yeah, I mean, I can let them go if I know they're going to a good home. someone that loves it as much as I do or more. So.
And Joe made it all the way through our vetting process. He's got to be an R-body fan and got to have a great car story to tell. And I was really taken with his story about when he was a teenager. What was that story you were telling us, Joe?
I'm 17 years old, living in New Jersey. My uncle, who was from New York, helped me purchase my first car, which was a 1980 Plymouth Gran Fury ex-cop car. So I didn't know what I had at the time. I was a naive young man, and for one reason or another, a year or two later, I let the car go, and I've regretted it ever since. Now I'm an old man, and I found one on your website, and got in touch with Ross, and we've been chatting since, and here I am today. I'm just so flattered that you guys agreed to have me as part of your lives, a part of your shop, part of your show. Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, you are very welcome. We're so excited to have you here. And again, that you flew all the way in here and provided us with all the details of your itinerary just to be able to see the 80 Plymouth Gran Fury Pursuit in person. So why don't we get you acquainted with it?
Yeah, he's been looking for one for years, and I comes here and there's 3 of them.
Kind of spoiled for choice. But yeah, what a great time. It's like I called this episode Toys R Body Us. We're kind of like the toy store for R bodies right now.
Yeah.
Well, I will grab the keys and get Joe acquainted with the car and see what he thinks.
I put the keys in the lockbox.
Perfect. Busy day here at the shop.
So this is interesting about this car. You know, I don't know how yours was, but that key is usually, you know, door and ignition, and that's just the trunk.
Yeah.
For this car, this is actually the door and the trunk.
Oh, okay.
I'd never seen one like that before, but that's how it is on this car. Let's see, I don't know. Interior's in pretty good shape. This was for a light bar that the guy had on it, and I think I'm sure that's also why the clear coat didn't come off, because it was kind of protected by the light bar. And that's what this was here for too, was the light bar. Your car was a former New York State Police car, so it's probably blue and yellow?
Blue, white.
Okay.
White top.
Okay. Did it have the same interior?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Let's see, I put the master cylinder on it because the brakes didn't work well on this car when we got it. And I think that's all the brakes needed.
It is very solid and very complete.
Oh, it's got a fender on it from a 79 Newport. We found that out because it's got, I think that's also why it's got 2 tags.
Yes.
So these are the tags for the car. This tag is for the 79 Newport that this fender came off of. And you can tell because some of the emissions stuff is on here. So I don't know how long that fender's been on there, probably a long time.
Always exciting
yes.
when you're introduced to your
Yep,
new
glad you
toy.
said that. I never got around to it. I think it's the selector shaft seal in the transmission. So yeah, you do have to keep an eye on it. It leaks fairly quickly. If you park it for longer than a week, it's probably going to need to be topped off.
Our St. Regis is exactly the same way.
Yep, and Roy was the same way, and I'm surprised Wyatt's car hasn't done it yet. It's just something all the 727s seem to do when they get old.
Well, let's see what first impressions are. Slide on into the cabin there, and let's see if it brings back those memories from when you were 17, Joe.
Yeah. Right away. It's same color, which against the.
That's cool.
You weren't kidding about the headliner.
Isn't that in great shape?
I don't know why it's so nice.
It hangs down a little bit. It's if you touch it, it's.
Seriously? I thought it was perfect.
No, it's not very taut, but it's still in very, very good shape. In fact, I mean, again, the condition of this entire dashboard and control center, is exceptionally good, considering, what a rough life this car led and how much it was used. But fits you well. I think it's going to make you happy.
It's the same. I love it.
There it goes. But it's purring now. Must take you back a few decades. That same sound. Well, great. Well, let's head on to the U-Haul, and we'll get you and your truck set up and get you loaded up here and on your way back home.
Thank you, gents.
You're welcome.
Oh, well, you might as well hang on. I think it's your car now.
body,
Drives
side by
good.
side. What do you think?
Drives good. I enjoy
Great.
it. Just come to get a picture next to its Gran Fury cousin there.
That's great. How do you do, Eric?
Excellent. I mean, of course, the brakes are still terrible in the car, so you had to be careful with that.
Sure. But boy, it drives good, doesn't it, Wyatt?
It actually does. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed for, I think they parked it in 1991, the guy said it was parked. And then they pulled it out in 2012.
Okay, while our customer Joe, now that he's got his rental truck lined up here over on our little main street, and while Eric and our customer friend Wyatt are playing around with a 79 Chrysler Newport, I'm going to move this 1980 Plymouth Gran Fury R-Body Pursuit over to the trailer and get it loaded up. Funny too, just a second ago, Eric and Wyatt managed to run that Newport out of fuel right over here where I'm going, so they had to throw a little ethanol free in it and get that sorted out. And of course, we don't want to try to load a car in the main parking area where we share this lot with other businesses, so we'll just go ahead and pull onto the main strip here and get this all lined up. Gives me one more chance to drive this car. Nice and slow, remembering just what a good old squad car this was. And when Eric and I bought this car back in Muskegon, there they are. Nice car, young man. I like it. There they go. But as I was mentioning, or as I was saying before, when Eric and I picked this car up in Muskegon, Michigan, about 2 years ago, we had a 200-plus mile road trip to do. I wish I'd caught that on camera. And the car did really well. I mean, again, Eric, had to do some general maintenance, and it had been sitting for a little while, and we had to take the light bar off of it, so it wasn't quite as obvious that it was an old police car. But yeah, we made the trip back here to Metro Detroit, and we've had a lot of fun with this car. I'm kind of sad to see it go, but I'm also very excited for our customer friend, our new owner friend Joe. I think he's going to have a really good time with this car. So I'm just going to get it lined up here, and I'm going to leave the rest to Eric because he is the expert when it comes to loading and unloading vehicles like this. Now that the car's on the trailer, we can get her locked down. On your way. So we'll go ahead and tie this car down and roll up the window here, and I think Joe and I still have a little more paperwork to do, but yeah, this is good. I think this car is going to enjoy its new home, and really looking forward to seeing what Joe has in mind for bringing this car back to life. It really needs a loving home and really needs someone that's going to be able to give it the attention that it deserves. And we've had fun playing around with it, and as I mentioned before, we were able to have it in a couple of independent movies shot locally here in Michigan, and it was a great car for that and for those purposes. But now that we've got things fully operational at our Chase headquarters, it's time to move on to bigger and better projects. So we'll say goodbye to our 1980 Plymouth Gran Fury A38 Pursuit, and we'll head back into the shop, and we'll catch up with Eric and our friends Mike and Wyatt and see how they're doing with a 1979 Chrysler Newport A38 Pursuit.
Well, how was your first test drive, Wyatt?
Very nice. Yeah, I'm impressed. Runs good.
Boy, it sure does. You've got yourself a real winner here, I can tell. When Eric Eric and I took this car for a test drive. We can show you some of that footage that's back in the shop. But boy, we were really impressed with just how well this car drives, how nice the interior is, and how solid it is. I mean, I know Eric may have mentioned there's a little softness in some areas of the floor, and the body does need some attention, as do some of the mechanical bits. But other than that, you've got yourself a real good starter vehicle here.
Oh, it's a great start, yeah. The best part is the body is solid for the most part. I don't have to do rust repair, which is very nice.
Absolutely, and you've got that engine. You've got the heart of a champion in this Newport.
Yeah,
it's just purring right along.
I think these cars, they get a bad rap.
That is a very happy young man right there. And if I was still his age, and heck, even at the age I'm at now, if one of these cars came into my life, I'd be a very happy man. And of course, we are a little sad because one of these cars is departing from our lives, but there's plenty more fun to be had. Well, safe travels to you, Joe. Good luck on your trip out to Delaware.
Thank you again.
And with that, we bid a fond farewell to our 1980 Plymouth Gran Fury. Eric and I enjoyed the time we had owning it, and it's so rewarding to see that there are Mopar fans like Joe who want to be reunited with them. Yes, our Night Watch Blue Plymouth Pursuit was bound for a good life in a new home. Just 12 hours later, we received a text message from Joe saying that he had driven non-stop all the way back to his home in Delaware. It seems he couldn't wait to get the same car he'd owned as a teenager back in the garage once again. And later that year, we received a holiday greeting from Joe and his family, wishing us a Merry Christmas, and to say that he was happy knowing that his R-Body Plymouth was warm and dry and waiting to come out and play again in the spring. It seems that once again, the maligned and misunderstood R-Body cars are beginning to find their path to redemption, and rightly so, because they truly are great cars. And just as we finish saying goodbye to our 1980 Plymouth Gran Fury, we get to say hello and welcome to another forgotten Mopar classic. So let's see how our young friend Wyatt is doing with his R-Body, the 1979 Chrysler Newport A38 Police Pursuit.
Well, congrats everyone, we did it. What a busy day.
Yep.
But it's been a fun day playing with the R-Bodies.
Gran Fury is gone and this one's back in.
Safe and sound.
Fired right up, didn't it?
Parking lot fired right up.
Yep. It always has for me too.
Sat for an hour and fired right up.
Even when it sat for kind of a long time after we got it, it's always been easy to start.
Yeah.
That's great news.
It's a good engine.
I think it's going to serve you well. You and your dad. Well, I'm sure he'll have plenty more to say as soon as we perform some more work for him here and for you yourself on this 1979 Chrysler.
By the way, everybody, be sure you watch Great Lakes State Productions. That's his YouTube video. So
Yeah.
Tell us about your channel, Wyatt. What's it all about?
Oh, it's just like ships of the Great Lakes.
Most freighters.
I've always taken interest in the freighters that sail the Great Lakes, and probably gonna work on them someday.
Well, you must be something of a local expert by now.
Yeah, I guess
you-
so.
yeah, he always
I know a
teaches
lot
me
about 'em.
something. So
Are you planning to join the Merchant Marine Academy?
Yeah, up in Traverse City there. That's where Paul went to. Yeah.
Yep, that's where our friend Paul
Yep.
graduated from, and he's sailing around right now. I believe he's in the Gulf.
Yep. I
Yeah.
plan to stay on the lakes, but pretty much the same thing. Yeah.
Well, best of luck to you. Now, I will
you.
say that since you're such a fan of big boats, you've definitely got one of your own now.
Yeah. I guess a Chrysler branded boat. Thank you to you guys for picking up the project and everything you do.
well, where there's an R-Body police car, you'll probably find us too.
Where
Yeah.
there are any great cars to serve and protect, you will find us.
There you
You'll
go.
find Chase Classic Motors. And this car belongs right here with us, and we're so happy that you brought it to us and that you're planning to do some great things to it and are getting ready to tell your own car stories with it. We can't wait to hear more about it.
Thank you.
If you enjoy automotive content like we do, consider subscribing to our channel or check out our website to join our VIP-only high-speed chase club for early videos and other great perks.